Hello and welcome to Killarney Brewing and Distilling Company, where today we're going to find out how you can get involved with this incredibly exciting project through the Cornerstone Cask Society. This is a really exciting day because normally this is a very busy building site, whereas today we've got private access to this beautiful development. We're going to meet Michael Crowley from the Cornerstone Cask Society and Master Distiller Kerr Petrie. So now that we're here on site in this beautiful building, we're here to talk about the Cornerstone Cask Society. So what exactly is it?
Well, Brendan, Cornerstone Cask Society is our cask programme, the opportunity for investors and people to buy a cask of our fantastic whisky here from Killarney Distillery. So we're calling it the Cornerstone Cask Society because it's actually the cornerstone, it's our very first distillation. And this will give it provenance and a point of differentiation for keeps. Cask programmes are not unusual for distilleries to run, and the very first cask programme tends to always be the most sought after one.
Can you tell me what is so exciting about whiskey right now, and in particular Irish whiskey? It seems like it's just been growing in popularity over the last few years.
Almost every single year in the last 3 decades, Irish whiskey has shown considerable growth. In the decade ended 2020, Irish whiskey market grew by 140%. So we have the experts in the Irish Whiskey Association telling us to meet the trajectory in demand, cumulatively we would need 800 million litres of pure alcohol in maturation. At the moment, cumulatively, there's about 120 million litres of pure alcohol laid down, which leaves a shortage of 680 million litres to be produced. Killarney Brewing and Distilling Company has a capacity of producing 1 million litres per year, which puts them in the top echelon of independent Irish whiskey producers. This will allow them to garner their fair share of that industry imbalance.
With this project, with this Cornerstone Cask Society, you're going to get your hands on something that there will be very short supply of in the grand scheme of things. Beautiful building, state-of-the-art equipment in an unbelievable setting as well, and the people behind it are pushing this project to its maximum potential.
True indeed. We're very fortunate, Brendan, and the attention has been intricate at every stage. The location is considerable, the beauty of our surroundings, the quality of the equipment and the quality of the raw materials, and our team of distillers is the very best there is. We're extremely excited. Altogether, magnificent. Will we go and meet Kerr?
Yeah, great idea. Let's go. So Kerr, nice to meet you, head distiller here in Killarney. We're in front of a very unusual looking contraption, and it's also very unusual to have one of these in a distillery. Tell me, what is this machine and how important is it?
So it's a Mura mash filter, which came from Belgium. It is unusual to have them in Ireland. There are only 1 or 2 distilleries that have them. It produces a high efficiency wort, a clear wort, which is essentially fermentable sugar, and allows us to separate the spent grain from the wort. I can show you some of the other equipment that we have.
Please do, yeah. Let's go.
So in the background there, what we have are 6 fermenters. So that's where our fermentation process happens.
So Kerr, all of this gear looks incredible, but can you tell us what we're actually looking at?
As you can see, all of these are manual valves, so these will have to be individually controlled by the distiller himself and not controlled from a computer screen. So it will give that hand touch, I suppose, that we'll distill off these columns. We've got our 3 traditional copper pot stills, and it's all state-of-the-art, designed by Frilli in Italy. I'm really lucky, delighted that we've got this fantastic equipment on site.
Frilli being on site, building this state-of-the-art equipment from the ground up, this must give you, as a distiller, a lot of opportunity going forward.
Absolutely, we can create single malts here, we can create pot still styles of whiskey. A lot of distilleries buy in grain whiskey from bigger companies, but with our column stills we have the ability to produce our own grain new mix spirit. So that's a huge bonus, and really we are in control of our own destiny.
So behind you are these incredible grain columns which you won't find in every distillery.
No, you certainly won't. There's only a handful of distilleries in the country that have it. I was sold when I saw it.
What was it that attracted you to come and work with Killarney Brewing and Distilling Company?
What really attracted me was the ambition and the level of investment in the equipment that they had here at Killarney. Had they just settled for a small little pot distillery, I probably wouldn't have been interested in the role as I was. So it sold it for me.
As a distiller, you're incredibly lucky to have all of this state-of-the-art equipment behind you, but in front of you, not everyone has a view like that in their workspace.
Absolutely. Let's go take a look.
Perfect. What effect does all of this have on the whiskey?
Well, firstly, the climate. So we're subtly based. We're quite close to the Atlantic archipelago. So during the summer, we have a nice warm breeze that comes through here, and during winter, we have a fairly cool breeze that comes through here, and that's perfect for maturation. You need a nice temperate climate for a good maturation to take effect.
So, looking out the window here, we can just about see the lakes of Killarney. The reason that Killarney Brewing and Distilling Company started in the first place is because the quality of water here in Killarney is perfect for brewing. So does that quality of water also translate into making good whiskey?
100%, Brendan. So the water actually originates up in the Devil's Punch Bowl, which is a glacial lake up on the Kerry Mountains here. And that water trickles down through the Kerry Mountains 1,000 feet into Loch Gatan down here, which we will use for making our whiskey.
Finding that high quality water is almost like striking gold.
Absolutely. One of our first brewers was originally trained as a chemist, and he sampled that water, and he said out of 200 samples that he had sampled across the whole world, the very best water was found here in Killarney.
Another key ingredient in making whiskey is barley. So how good is Irish barley?
It's excellent, Brendan. So what we're looking for when we're selecting our grains, low nitrogen, low protein, good starch availability, and that's crucial for making good quality whiskey. And because of our temperate climate here in Ireland, we have that in abundance.
So this is where the casks are going to be stored, Brendan.
Wow.
All around here.
The Cornerstone Cask Society, how many casks are in it?
There are 500 casks available in single malt and 500 in pot still. We're stopping it at 1,000 casks. So the investor has a choice, will they go for pot still or single malt?
I don't know a whole pile about the industry, but I do know that whiskey goes up in value the longer that you keep it aging. So this is a very solid, sound, wise investment.
It absolutely is. The market was never more favourable. There are 3 exit options for the Cornerstone Cask Society member, and one of them is to lay down the whiskey and let it mature longer. A second option would be that there's a burgeoning secondary market where bonded warehouses and indeed other distillers would be buying barrels of whiskey from investors at quite a premium. Doesn't attract capital gains tax, which is rare and fabulous.
Yes.
And a third option then is to bottle it. We will have our own bottling and labelling facility here. We would bottle the contents of your cask. The label will be Cornerstone Cask Society. It won't be any of our own brands. And one can choose to put your own family logo or business logo on the label. Underneath this will be a foot label signed off by our master distiller, Kerr, who you met, with the cask number and your bottle number.
So, Michael, these casks in the corner, are they the casks that are going to be used for Killarney whiskey?
No, Brendan, this is still very much a building site, so they are not. They are actually wine casks which we're going to use in a very impressive feature in our foyer, and we're also going to use them for furniture around the public area in our bar and our rooftop bar.
Okay.
However, beside the wine casks, we have something very interesting here. We have some staves, which I'd love to show you and tell you a little bit more about.
Perfect, let's see them.
These are staves from casks that have already been used, and these are things of incredible beauty.
Yeah.
Our casks will be American bourbon. You see,
You can smell it's that rich
isn't
bourbon smell.
it
It's
beautiful?
Gorgeous, yeah.
It's beautiful. And you can see here's where the whiskey will play in the wood, and it'll go right through the wood. The whiskey has penetrated the wood until it's actually gone out and evaporates into the air. This is called the famous Angel's Share. The wood is charred by the cooper, by a professional cooper. This charring serves to kind of degrade the timber in a way that accesses long molecules and polymers in the wood. So, for example, that process will will release say lingrin, which carries with it vanillic acid. And what that brings to the whiskey is a beautiful, rich smoothness. So this magnificent piece of oak will bring to the whiskey nose, colour, and the characteristics, that sweetness. It'll bring flavour and appearance and everything. When new make spirit goes into the wood, it's white like gin or vodka. All the colour from our whiskey will come from this beautiful timber. And it's just
will there
phenomenal.
be different types of casks and different types of woods and barrels that might not be charred in this way?
There will be different casks. We are using the gold standard coopers or casks for our whiskey. They're Kelvin Cooperage in Kentucky. They are the industry gold standard. They will have been used once in their life to make bourbon, and that's very much a standard best practice in the Irish whiskey industry. It will be then filled in the bourbon cask and left there to mature for 5 years. We're leaving it for 5 years. Because we are premium focused and we want the best tasting whiskey, all of our Cornerstone casks will have 2 additional years beyond that legal requirement. We're not simply looking to turn a profit. We want to produce something that we are proud of.
So the stave in your hand, not only does it look amazing and smell amazing, that beautiful bourbon smell coming off it, but this is one of the benefits for members of the Cornerstone Cask Society. So tell me about that.
Yes, Brendan, it is. We have, there are several benefits accruing to membership. So anybody who invests in a cask with us, their name will be emblazoned on a stave and their cask number, and we place it on the wall of recognition, which will be part of the visitor centre. There are other benefits. There's a subsidised golf day in Killarney Golf and Fishing Club, 4 times home for the Irish Open. There's unlimited access to members to our visitor centre and experience, which brings with it a 15% discount on all merchandise. There's tickets for 2 to our inaugural party, so we'll see if we can arrange a party in a brewery distillery. I'd say we'd probably hack it. That's going to be a party to remember, I'm told. And also privileged access to our new releases and special releases as time goes on from our whiskey distillery and indeed from the gin lab.
And we're here in front of this beautiful cask, and this is also another added benefit of becoming a member.
This is another benefit. When one would finally choose to disgorge their cask, when your new make spirit is put into our whiskey cask, your name will be put on it, and the date, and your cask number, and it will be framed in a Cornerstone Cask Society label. And when you would choose perhaps to disgorge the cask and bottle it, the butt end becomes yours. And this, Brendan, will be our wall of recognition.
I didn't picture a wall this big, this monumental in size. That's something very special to be a part of.
You will turn around, this magnificent wall will be populated with staves, each emblazoned with the name of our Cornerstone Cask Society member. It will be here for perpetuity, for as long as we last ourselves. The wood and the new make spirits will be interacting. The fragrance will be absolutely enthralling. It'll be like standing inside a Christmas cake. Our acknowledgement to our members and the people who support us. Really looking forward to this.
This is the Rooftop Terrace, and this is an example of the ambition of this project, and it's also an example of how well it works.
Yes, indeed, Brendan. And here we are at the start of the Ring of Kerry. Huge traffic passes here every year to see the wonderful Ring of Kerry. We're looking out at the Gapperton Low. We have a massive visitor centre, the most modern distillery. You could possibly have the very finest of equipment in the world, the best of ingredients, the purest of water, and a team of distillers that have peerless expertise. So we're in an industry wrapped up in brand Killarney, where there's a shortage of supply and the industry continues to grow. So we're extremely confident about what we have and about how well people could do within the Cornerstone Cask Society. In normal times, pre-COVID, there was 1.2 million people per year travelled this stretch of road. Such is the tourist and Killarney as a hub. In a recent survey by Enterprise Ireland, Killarney was identified as the most recognisable town in Ireland, even more than Dublin. So in terms of brand recognition, Killarney is absolutely top drawer.
Ireland's only co-located brewery and distillery. It's situated outside of one of Ireland's most recognised towns in Killarney. It's at the start of the Ring of Kerry. It has an incredibly well-established brand of beer in Killarney Brewing and Distilling Company's beer. So how can people become a part of the Cornerstone Cask Society in order to take advantage of all of that?
Buying a cask is this simple. It costs €7,500. We will mind the cask, we lay it down. At the end of 5 years, you'll have your choice of exit options. There can only be one first edition cask programme from Killarney Brewing and Distilling Company.
So there you have it. If you'd like to find out more, you can email cornerstone@killarneybrewing.com.